I've wondered whether you might be having some second thoughts about the mission.
Second thought on the mission? No way. Since I'm a total beginner and I just bought a few fingerboards and accessories, which you can see in my other video, I wanted to know how many tricks I can learn if I fingerboard for 5,000 times. And hey, welcome back to Box Wonder. Make sure to stick around because there are a lot of fingerboard tricks and tips here. But anyway, let's go back to the beginning. Okay, why 5,000? Well, I did some math and it turns out I can fingerboard around 18 times per minute, which is around 4 to 5 hours of fingerboard time, and I think that's fair. When I got my fingerboard, at first, I didn't fingerboard at all, but the secret to look cool on a fingerboard is to use only 2 fingers. If you don't know what else to do with fingerboard, try bowling. I had a blast doing this. Okay, let's start with flat ground. The very first trick I learned here was chop it. A big lesson here is to control the index finger so the board can spin around it. Pop shove it was way harder to learn because you gotta pop the board while shove it at the same time. The crazy thing was, this trick took me more than 1,000 tries before I get it. Ollie, one of the most useful foundational tricks to learn. So to Ollie, you gotta pop the board, then slide your hand forward, then smash your board back onto the ground. Ollie took me a while, but I eventually got it. 360 pop shove it. The difficult part was knowing if you did it. So you want to pay attention to the direction of your board, make sure it starts one way and ends the same direction. Another lesson I learned here was to take away the obstacle in the middle, so it makes your practice a little bit easier. The impossible. Sounds impossible, but this was not as hard for me to learn. The key was to pop the board and slide your hand upward, allowing the board to spin around your finger, then push it back down. Casper flip variation 1, Casper flip variation 2, the impossible body varial, frontside 180. These tricks were very easy to learn right after. Fakie kickflip. I recommend learning this before the kickflip. The fakie momentum makes it easier for the board to spin. It's still a hot trick. A lot of people on YouTube would say to slide your index finger like this, which I tried many times, but it did not work. So instead, what works for me was to focus on hand motion, which is more like this. Up, left, quick right, and then down. Up, left, quick right, down. Up, left, quick right, down. Over time, my finger adapts and I was able to do the trick. Kickflip is the next most natural trick to learn, but since the board is no longer gaining that fakie momentum, it helps a ton to pop the board directly up and hard before you can properly flip the board. Fakie ollie. If you get ollie down, fakie ollie wouldn't be a problem. Now tray flip was hard. It basically combines a lot of the tricks you saw previously, so it helps to focus on hand motion and board direction to popping the board straight up plus swooping motion at the tail. Yeah, all of that. Grinds and slides. I found many of these tricks are not hard to learn. Funny enough, it was harder to find the right surface to do these tricks on than learning the tricks themselves. Here's what I mean. Manual. I first tried to use a plastic table that comes with the Tech Deck Berrics set, but it didn't work because the plastic was too light, and whenever I tried to ollie onto it, it basically tipped over all the time. My cutting board was way better, which also works on nose manual, but for board slide, the Berrics was the winner. Frontside 50-50. First I thought I could do the trick on the edge here, and it didn't work. Then I tried one of these handrails, but when I was doing it, I can feel the board was scratching the plastic really hard. It turns out that this basic Tech Deck board has screws sticking out from the bottom of the board that would basically leave marks on whichever plastic surface that you do your grinds on. So I switched to my upgraded Tech Deck board that comes with the half pipe, and it works a little bit better. Still not the best, but it's alright. Now that I get those out of the way, these next few tricks are very easy to learn, so let's get to it. Manual grind, nose grind, backside 50-50, backside board slide, frontside tail slide, and backside tail slide. Ramp tricks. Most of these tricks are very easy to do except ones where you need to apply flat ground tricks to them. Anyway, here are ramp tricks. Front feeble, feeble grind, backside air, frontside air, blunt to fakie, blunt kickflip to fakie. This one was very hard, so don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Tail slide revert, and judo air. And at this point, I had to try the infamous tricks, but after a quick water break. Nollie. This was surprisingly not as hard as I thought. What made it for me was pushing hard on the board with my middle finger and pop from the nose. Somehow the harder I push, the more springing motion I get. Nollie heel flip. The supposedly very hard trick to pull off, so for this one, I was happy that I got the board to flip. That's a success in my book. So that was 5,000 tries, and I was able to learn 33 new fingerboard tricks from zero. I may not be the fingerboard pro, but at least I understand the basic ideas behind all of them. I think overall, fingerboard tricks can be divided into these three buckets: difficult, moderate, and easy. Difficult being the first 2 to 3 foundation tricks that you will be learning. Moderate tricks are tricks that build on top of other tricks, so it's making it a little bit easier to learn. And finally, easy tricks are mainly grinds and slides and ramp tricks. Here's what it comes down to. If you are new to fingerboard, I highly recommend you to learn the difficult foundational tricks first. It will take you a while, but it will make other tricks much easier to learn down the road. Then you can move on to the moderate, easy, then the rest of the difficult ones. At that point, you are probably a pro, so congrats! That's it for this video. It took me absolutely weeks to put together this content. Like and subscribe, your support means a ton. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.